and welcome to Montenegro. It is a glorious day.
Yes, we're basking in the lovely late autumn sunshine here. We're really looking forward to getting out and about around Montenegro, but this episode comes to you from Annapolis.
Yep, we were there a couple of weeks ago for the boat show and my head is still spinning. Coming up, looking at boats. So many to see and so little time to see them all. Meeting us and our fellow YouTubers at the famous Annapolis YouTube tent. And learning more about furlers. They've changed a lot in the past 20 years. Excellent. It's a Camaro. It's classy. It's Annapolis. What a town. This is the place of dreams. Living by the sea, living your best life, and in October, everyone is heading in one direction, to the boat show. It's America's sailing mecca. Some arrive by dinghy, but for most, the day begins here. And this is the queue to get in. Yes, it is that popular. It's about 10 to 10. They open the doors at 10 o'clock. Inside, the carnival begins. For many, this is the fantasy, a sailing life in the Caribbean, retiring to the Bahamas. And the first step, looking at boats. Lots of boats, more boats than you've seen in your life. And stuff to put on your boats, anchors, lines, cushions, and things you never knew you needed. Annapolis is the best boat show in the world. Anyone who ever wanted to buy a boat is here. It's the highlight of the sailing year, and it goes on for 5 whole days. Okay, I'm getting a bit carried away now. We'd better join in and start looking at boats. The Garcia 45 is one of the more popular boats in the show, one for working in as well as living in.
So I haven't been on a Garcia before. Aluminium boats. Always been a bit wary of aluminium boats, but obviously there's very good points to them as well if you're careful about how you keep them. And a lot of people like Garcias. It's a good roughy tufty boat. Look at that, it's a different profile at the front. I quite like that actually.
Yeah.
It's like those sort of trawler design. The windows going back the other direction.
And I know we've got a teak deck and some people are very purist about that.
Yeah.
I quite like the false teak.
Yeah, I mean,
it's easy to clean.
It's so much better nowadays than it used to be. The one on the Kraken is the same as this. It's absolutely amazing now. It just looks as good and hasn't got the downsides of teak, but I don't know. I mean, on fair isle, you've got to have the right stuff. But look, all this is great. It's just nice, solid. I mean, I'd like it to have a bull that can be a bit higher, but you know, it's just nice to have things that are solid to attach anything you want to. That's the beauty of having a metal boat.
And the top, hard top as well.
Yeah, yeah, not having solid rail rather than the wire lifelines is nice. I'm surprised they didn't put Dyneema in here. Yeah, lovely. Nice granny bars. They're doing everything from the mast, like that. But yeah, it's just sleek.
Sleek, I think that's the word.
This is good as well, you know, proper solid, something solid to hang on to actually in the cockpit rather than try and grab the wheel, which is what you have to do in a lot of boats.
Right.
But yeah, it's good.
And a lot of people will put a clamp on this and put their iPad or whatever.
Yeah, we do that. Hard top. And
we have there's a watch guard that goes
look
down
at that for your companionway doors.
I could go aft first.
Aft first.
Try to get back to where
Yeah, it's a blast.
This is.
So you got the head in there. Yeah. You go through the head to get to a little work. Yeah, I mean storage work. I mean this is clever. Storage in here.
I think you can sleep in here.
Quite
if
dark
you're
in here.
Small.
No, it's not meant for that, is it? It's just meant for storage. The whole thing's been created for storage, and yeah, more storage in there. It's very, very dark.
All the weight is centered.
Oh, look, you've got the little mini washing machine in there. That's a little mini deluge.
Oh yes, it is. That's fantastic. Well, the people do live aboard here, so.
Yeah. And what's through in the beyond there? Hatch. Oh, it just takes you into see where the steering quadrants are because it's twin ruddered. Oh dear, twin ruddered.
Access to the engine room there.
Well, access to the fuel filters. The engine's under here. Look at it. So yeah, let's take the floor up to get to the engine.
And there's a bed with the board in between.
Yeah.
Which is handy. Presumably you can drop that if you need to.
I would have thought so.
Yeah.
Slot it out.
Yeah. So your windlass is right
Enough that you can brace yourself against the back
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and you see,
No, this is good.
the front sail, so
Yeah.
you can be sailing, being
Other pilot berth
Right,
there.
I will let get on that other
Oh,
side.
yeah. So,
Yes, latitude
squeeze the
38,
pilot berth in there.
California.
It was a good idea then to have that aft cabin as storage only because there's plenty of berths
Yeah. Yeah.
and other space. Yeah.
But there's not a lot of storage in here. What's that
No,
behind
not
you?
here.
You've got one
That'll
thing
be
in
a-
the locker.
There we go.
Yeah.
Real
Yeah.
person locker.
And yeah, and just little. There's not much in these. Another one behind here. But yeah. And the head's shower. Where's the shower?
Yeah, I don't think there's a shower in here.
Did you
So
know?
it's just that-
It's on there, so you're showering in the head. That's not so good.
Yeah. The Garcia has a manual swing keel.
There's a system with a rope. It's coming through the mast there,
Yeah.
coming back to the cockpit. So you open the clutch, you let
Yeah.
it go with the weight, it goes down
Yeah.
by itself. And then when you're sailing upwind and you start to go downwind and you just raise your centerboard, and so your boat becomes like
Okay.
a slag. Even if you go
So,
surfing,
so it's done manually.
yeah,
Up
it's
and
done
down.
manually with the winch. It's like a 250 meters rope, so
Yeah.
very quickly you rise up. And
Yeah.
the good thing is when you go to shallow waters, and the other when you go downwind, if your boat starts surfing
Yeah.
or if there is gusty wind, very strong winds, you won't have this effect like with your keel, your
Yeah.
boat going like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Your boat will just slide and surf and
Yeah,
just
yeah,
accelerate.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
very, very comfortable.
Yeah.
Painting aluminium isn't advisable, so Garcia have cleverly used a wrap. Annapolis is also a great place to look at catamarans. Two of our patrons, Heidi and Franny, are thinking of buying one. They're better known for their car YouTube channel, Heidi and Franny's Garage, but now they've sold their house and are planning to live on a boat.
So we started by watching a lot of YouTube channels, and one of the things that we did was we kind of picked and chose channels that we thought we could relate to, and maybe we're on a kind of boat that we might want to live on. And since we are coming from a very large 6,000 square foot house, we weren't sure immediately if we could get on a really small boat, because we've heard a lot of people just immediately get turned off by it and want to go back to a house.
But we also need an area to work as
Right,
well.
yeah.
So
That's very big for
we're
us.
both still full employed, but I'm hoping that'll drop away for me, but then I'll have other things I need to do as well.
Right.
I've had a lot of requests over the years to do a video on all of my tools. What I have laid out here are my absolute favorite tools. So I wanted to go through all of them and show you why they're so special.
OK, so they both need space. First stop then, the Fontaine Pajot Tanner 47. Plenty of space in the galley and a spacious saloon.
The nav table.
And lots of rounded surfaces, which is essential for safety during sailing. Except...
And then,
And then they forgot about the corners on this thing.
so this is an unusual table because this is the actual electric table. It's pretty expensive. Most people will do a large table that has
So let's move to the cabins.
It doesn't feel so enclosed when the way some of the other ones have been. I mean, maybe it's a smaller bed because of it. I don't know.
Yeah, but you can get around the side of the bed just about to get on to your side.
Right.
Is that too tight for you? What do you think?
I don't know. I'll probably just go straight anyway. It's just nice.
Just dive in there. That you've got the hatch just here, sort of head level. The condensation on that drips straight on your face.
Oh, jeez.
So that's a problem. And I know in one of the others there's some steps that come down that are here, and you get drips off that as well. Because you've got to look at this and sort of see that if that's going to get condensation on it.
The HH55 is a whole different boat. A lightweight carbon fibre racing boat. It's built for the high seas.
So this is the sort of an owner's suite then, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah.
This is the
3-cabin layout.
Yep.
Wow.
Right.
So you have a full queen-size bed.
Yeah.
You know, the confine of a performance catamaran will be you don't have enormously wide hulls.
Absolutely.
Because again, you don't want to plow that wide hull through the water. That's what allows you to sail upwind. That's what allows you to sail on light wind.
The real test of this boat, though, is in the technology. It seems HH have thought of everything when it comes to performance.
So these shrouds are aramid. So you can see there's no turnbuckles at all on these of any sort. So you tension the entire rig by actually jacking the mast up. So we have a mast jack cylinder inside the Marstrom rig.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's
And
totally
you
different.
basically pump it up with a foot pump, and then you put sheaves underneath the back of the mast to hold it up, and that's how you get the tension on the mast, or on the rig. And then we actually also have load pin sensors in the shrouds, so that you can reef based on data. So you'd have data at the helm stations on your B&G displays. It tells you how many tons of load are on the rig at any time.
Right.
So the dagger boards, these are very unique to our boats. You won't find a dagger board like this anywhere else at the show on any other catamaran. So these are C-shaped boards straight out of the America's Cup. So when the America's Cup was in San Francisco, Morelli and Melvin designed the New Zealand boat, and these boards were the design for that boat. And it's a good example of kind of America's Cup technology coming straight into the cruising world.
Right.
And so these are pre-preg carbon boards. They're C-shaped. So as they curve down, this pad would actually go all the way to the deck. So that much of the board, a good 5 feet of the board goes down into the water. And that's what prevents the boat from drifting to leeward. So it really is a performance cruising boat. It really will track upwind as well as a monohull would because of these boards.
Sure.
The boards have to be incredibly strong to be this thin and this efficient. And so we build them out of pre-preg carbon. They're about $80,000 each, so you don't want to break one.
Oh my gosh!
And,
oh my gosh! I think it's an amazing boat. It's the tech on it is insane, all being carbon fiber and everything. The only things that worry me about it is that one, it would take a very experienced crew to sail this boat properly, and I'd be a little worried about if you dinked it, if you hit something with it, or you needed repairs on it. Can you get that carbon fixed? It's a big deal in the car world to fix carbon. And since it becomes such a strong monocoque design, if it's not fixed properly, you will reduce the structural integrity of whatever bit that broke.
So they haven't found the perfect boat yet, but we will show more of Franny and Heidi's journey in a special episode. Meanwhile, back to the show. We take a tour of the stands, and one thing on my wish list is an electric winch handle.
60 pounds.
Wow, that's good.
When you start pressing this, you're going to have to position it a little bit. You've got to give it some resistance to hold it in place,
right?
So that it'll pull. But then it does the rest for you. The more you depress this, the faster it'll get. Also within this speed.
Right.
There's a little black button under here. That's what you press to change speeds. You can also crank manually while you are actually pressing on the button as well. So you can have an assist and a manual crank.
What I like about this make is that it actually looks and operates like a normal winch handle. So time to try it out.
Okay, shall I try it on manual assist? Okay, so this one is manual assist now. That's really easy. That's great. That's really good.
It's really easy when you're doing it manually with the help.
Something to look at in the future. Meanwhile, round the corner, a familiar sight, Ultra anchors. All kinds of boat equipment here, some of which we already have on Fair Isle.
It's still the anchor is the popular thing?
Yes, the anchor is the most popular thing, our anchors and our Ultra flip swivels. People just can't get enough of them.
The other thing we know we need is clothing.
So this is our new BR2 collection, and this is actually the best waterproof rating on the market as it stands now.
Yeah. If I was still sailing in the UK, I'd go for this jacket, but we're not. We're sailing in the Med, and we're going to go to the tropics. So is this something that's got this sort of performance, but not the bulk? You know, not quite that.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go back to our MPX collection in the back. So this is MPX. The real difference here is this is also an offshore jacket. This race jacket's going to be really light. Like we talked about, it has the sailing deep pockets, double articulated, or this is, since it's a race jacket, it's just a single articulated sleeve cuff here and one adjustment at the bottom. This also has, you'll see a lower collar. You also have a smock collar, depending on.
Is this a large? Can I try this one on?
Yeah, of course.
Let's have a look at that.
Go.
Wow, that's very light, isn't it?
Yeah, super light. But it's actually going to have the same breathability and warmth as this jacket right here.
Really? Wow. So it's same offshore rating, and this is...
Yep, same breathability. So the main difference between this jacket that we were, and the one we were just looking at, is this is Gore-Tex, and the breathability is going to be a pretty big difference.
Sold. Steve has a jacket. Just in time for our Patron meetup. Drinks and nibbles in the garden of Quirkenback Pottery, a great venue. And then on to the YouTube tent, where we meet more Sailing Fair Isle viewers. Thanks to everyone who came. And we marvel at the queues of people lining up to meet the bigger channels. Yes, this is Elena and Riley from La Vagabonde.
Your 2022 International Cruisers Awards hosts, Riley and Elena of Sailing November.
And here they are again, presenting the prizes at the Young Cruisers Awards, where, amazingly, we are a finalist in one of the categories.
Sailing Magic Carpet. Congratulations to Magic Carpet for a fantastic episode. And the party continues at the Bacon Sales Chandlers. Steve's idea of heaven, drinking beer at the same time as being inside a Chandler's. This is a great place to meet other YouTubers. There are 50 channels here. It must be the largest sailing YouTube meetup ever. And the night ends with a Mexican feast. The next day we're up bright and early. We have work to do.
Okay, it's Sunday. It's going to be another busy day, so we're here before the show's actually open to the public, because that's what we can do with these tickets. It's very good. Get as much done as possible before the crowds arrive.
And you have to make appointments. By lunchtime yesterday, you couldn't get on a boat unless you had an appointment. So they were saying make appointments for Sunday and Monday. So I think that's what we're doing. We've made our own appointments here at Passport today.
Yes, that's outside the show. It's one of our patrons has got one here, so that's going to be good.
And we're going to check out some stuff for our rigging.
Yep, that's where we're heading now. Go and see Selden.
Those of you who watch Sailing Fair Isle will know that our furler needs replacing.
Okay, so what went wrong?
It's coming off the spindle in there. The whole thing's riding up.
So hopefully that'll hold it. What we've got now is a couple of Jubilee clips around it. Always useful, Jubilee clips.
Over the past 20 years, the technology has improved enormously, so we're here to find out what is the best option.
I like the idea of ball bearings rather than going to Delrin or something like that.
For sure.
But this seems like it's more open. You can clean them. Is that?
Yeah, if we're talking about the bearing race here, what's important for us as far as materials is hardness.
Yeah.
So this is a 316 ball bearing.
Yeah.
And the race is 316 as well, so they're the same hardness.
Yeah.
And then we passivate the ball bearings, which means all the impurities of the stainless have been removed.
Yeah.
So they really do stay round their whole life, and they don't get pock marks because they weren't passivated.
Yeah.
And another thing that's patented by Saldine is we have a load distributor in there.
Yeah.
So that when the halyard is on all the time, and the sail is obviously tensioned as well. We can spread the load over more ball bearings. So not only are we doing a hard ball bearing, but we're sharing the load. So it's okay. We give you a new wire. It's our wire. It's our swage terminal, and we ensure the integrity. The bottom ends in a stay-lock terminal. Yeah. And at the bottom, we have a choice of either a non-fixed, so this would be living down here. Yeah. Or an adjustable one. Yeah. And of course, I love the adjustable one. It's bronze on stainless. You're never going to have any problems. But what's unique about this is as you're extending this, you're not raising the drum up. You're just extending the wire in. Yeah. So your tack height isn't changing. Yeah. And that's really important for, of course, keeping your max sail area. Yeah. And your sheeting angles and stuff like that. So that's a really nice terminal, and that's a stay lock, which is approved by Lloyd's of London. Yes. And it's.
So you were talking about centering the stay here. Why is that important, and how do you do that? What's the way
so if you consider this as spinning around its whole life, right? The last thing you want to do is just have a bare extrusion up there, because this is aluminum, that's stainless. Yeah. And
so that's going to work.
Yeah, and then you're creating aluminum oxide, which then goes on your forestay line. Yeah, so that's kind of a bad thing. Yeah. So we actually start the forestay off in a very happy place with a honest to good bushing. Yeah. So as you can see, it's going to completely support the stay. Yeah. And then the rest of the length of the extrusion between the joints, we have distance tubes. Mm-hmm. So they're polyethylene tubes that don't let the forestay ever touch the aluminum. So the forestay goes in there new. Yeah. There's no chance of aluminum oxide on it. Yeah. And that's a good way to just protect the system for long term.
So Furlex are using Staylock, something I've been thinking of using for the rest of the rigging. But how good are they? Maybe the best way is to get a swage fitting, which you can put at the top, overlink the wires, and put a mechanical fitting on the bottom. I just wanted to know what your feelings would be.
I would sort of agree with that. Having the swage fitting at the top eliminates the problem of water getting into the swage fitting, and having a mechanical fitting at the bottom allows you to get the correct rigging lengths, no matter where the boat is. So if he cuts the rigging to, say, a foot too long, then you cut it on the boat to the correct size. And install a stay-lock fitting, and away you go. So it's,
And what do you think of stay-lock fittings? I mean, is there any disadvantage to that? I mean, is it less strong than a swage fitting?
No, it equals the breaking strength of the wire. So it's an extremely strong fitting, been around for years and years, well proven. So I'd recommend a stay-lock. So it's a great fitting, easy to use, easy to assemble. You can reuse it. You just have to replace the cone or the wedge, and away you go.
Away from the main site of the show, and Annapolis continues to be a great place to look at boats. Numerous small marinas and anchorages with a sailing heritage that makes this one of the best cruising grounds in the world. It's where we caught up with Jeff, who's just bought his passport.
This is a 2003 Passport 456, 45 and a half feet long. Decided to go ahead and jump into this and have a home that's mobile.
And a big cockpit for a boat this size, centre cockpit. That's quite generous, isn't it? You've got enough room to lie down, and like us, quite quietly come down quite a long way. But that means you've got proper headroom.
Yeah, I'm not particularly tall, but I mean it works out well. We've had some very tall people in, and
But you are sort of living almost under the water. Where's the water? Level somewhere
in there,
somewhere here. So you have to. Does the sink drain, or do you have to pump that out the galley?
It drains.
It drains. Okay, so it's higher.
Yeah.
Ours isn't. You see, the galley sink is actually below the water line, the bottom of it.
So you have a sump. You have to
pump it. Well, it's not a sump, but it's just you do have to pump it out.
Okay.
And Judy's in the galley talking to Amanda. So it's new to you too, this boating thing.
It is. It's very new to me.
And a lot of working space, which is good.
Yes, absolutely loving that. What I really loved is the fact that the fridge does top load, and then I've also got a side door here.
Right, so
I don't have to lift this over and over again. Space has been fantastic.
And how far do the covers go back? Can I have a go?
Oh, absolutely, by all means.
Oh yeah.
So, and these are further back than these.
Okay.
So these are probably half the width,
But,
depth.
but you've got it. You can see how far they are back there. You've got plenty of room. You can lose stuff in there.
Oh,
so watch out for
absolutely.
that.
Oh, absolutely.
And all louvered, the same as ours, which is good. Ventilation, you don't get sort of things going mouldy in there anywhere near as much because you've got ventilation through.
Right.
Okay, so is this the main room?
So this is the main room.
Okay, good, stateroom. So, but you can get in either side of the bed, which for me is essential.
Plus there's ventilation up here. That's the other thing I like. I'm already hot-natured, but I like that if I did want to kind of just create the airflow, which I need to sleep, I can do that.
Okay. Have you got the separate shower?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That's good. And you've got the seat that folds down. Yeah, exactly, which we found essential when you're actually underway. You don't want to be trying to stand up and hold it.
Right,
over your head. Yeah,
I know what's in there. There's a special door.
It's not anything cool. I would love to tell you that it is. I'm storing towels.
I think having a towel cupboard is quite cool, actually.
Storage is always cool on a boat, and it is a great boat, that one. We saw 615 as well, a new 615 at the show itself, so we're going to bring out a full review of both of those boats and do a bit of a contrast. They're great. We looked at quite a few boats actually there, didn't we? We're going to do reviews of all of them.
We are. The Oyster, the Outbound, the Hylas.
Yeah, the Hylas have become Blue Water Yachts. I mean, that was our favourite yacht of the whole thing, spoiler alert.
I think it was, spoiler alert,
yeah,
yes.
I mean, they didn't even have a Blue Water Yacht at the show. They took us outside the show to see a Hylas and showed us sort of what changes they'd made. But really, that was a fantastic boat. Yeah. Really, really nice. So yeah, it's nice to see some, sort of good, traditional, strong sort of boats like that there. And as I say, we've got things like the Outbound as well. It's a little bit different, so we're going to have a full review of that. Slightly disappointing that Halberg Rassi were just there with twin-ruddered boats. That's all they do now. It just doesn't do it for me. I know some people like them. I don't.
The Oyster had twin rudders?
It did, yeah. I do like the Oyster, but yeah, I mean, that sort of spoils it a bit. I mean, the reason they've done it is that it's shallow keeled. That one's a drop keel, and they just want to keep the whole thing shallow. So it's not completely that the hull shape is wrong, which is why a lot of them end up putting twin rudders on. But that's a whole other subject. Maybe we'll do a whole technical video on hull shape at some stage.
Yes, let's leave it for that.
Yeah.
But we did like going around the cats, actually. Well, I certainly did.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, well, there's going to be a whole episode on that as well, a technical thing, sort of looking through and showing Franny and Heidi's journey looking for a cat. And I mean, look at me, that HH was incredible.
Absolutely amazing. You just didn't dare touch it, did you? Just in case you broke something and it's going to cost you £100,000.
Yes, yeah. As Franny said, it'd be like taking a Lamborghini round to the corner shop really every day using a boat like that. I mean, you've got to have a specific use for a boat like that. It's not a standard cruising yacht, and $2.5 million dollars just as a base level is pretty high.
Yeah, it is. But instead of buying a boat, we did splash out on your lovely coat.
Oh yeah, got my jacket here.
So we'll have to test that.
Because we haven't actually done this before. I mean, this, half price we've got this for, boat show deal, but it's still, best part of $500. And you think, well, that's a lot of money for a coat. So we'll see. Let's see if it's good. I'd like your opinions actually on what you think. Is it worth paying the sort of money for these sorts of things, because we haven't done it before and they've been okay, the things we've got, but I think this has got extra little bits in it. I mean, things like the proper deep pockets and stuff like that.
And she sold it to you, didn't she, Steve?
It's a good saleswoman. The other thing, didn't take any selling this one because we just like the pretty colours, really, didn't we?
We did.
It's very cheap. It's just a dive belt that we got there, so I need that, and you can just take each one out to get the right weight.
I mean, it's very clever.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to have a wetsuit on now in here because the water's actually quite cold, so you'd need a little bit more, so I can just add some and then take some off when you don't. So yeah, we'll see. That might help stuff, even with snorkeling. It just makes it so you can get your neutral buoyancy in and use that. So looking forward to using that actually.
It will be great, and we will get out and about in the next week or two. It's very, very still at the moment, but if the wind gets up, we might even be able to get a sail.
Yes, we might. We've got a rigger coming out as well. There's going to be a whole special on our re-rig that we're doing. We did have some, do some research at the show, so you'll see some sort of stuff on there on Staylock, and and we're looking at our furler at the moment. It does look good, that furler from Furlex that we saw sold at Selden. I never actually realised that they are completely the same company. Selden just have Furlex as part of what they do for their furling systems, and it is quite impressive that and that wincher that you like that. We
I
haven't
did.
bought one,
I
but
think in the future,
thinking of it.
when I get even
Old
more
and
decrepit, then I might invest in an electric winch handle.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, it would be useful for us to winch in the Yankee because our furl is so bad. Actually, you have to put it on the winch most of the time. I'm hoping that when we got the new setup, it'll be like butter coming in, and we might delay needing an electric winch handle for a few years. But yeah, it's interesting. Good
anyway,
stuff.
we will keep sailing. We really enjoyed Annapolis, but I'm still worn out. We'll keep sailing. So thank you very much to our patrons and our subscribers, and thank you for watching. And if you want to become a patron, do think about it and join us.
Thanks for watching.